Okay. So, welcome to everyone. And today we are all gathered here to talk about the Youth Inc. with Network Capital program we are launching. This is something that we really believe in terms of leadership development and the importance of soft skills, the importance of storytelling, and how we need to inculcate it from the time we are in school, from the time we are children. And it's a lifelong lesson that goes on from the time we are kids all the way till we decide not to do something. It's not anything time bound or school bound or class bound. So that's our dream about this program, is how to create leaders. And we are focusing on, as I said, the soft skills, which is in storytelling, writing, and critical thinking. And my partner Utkarsh will talk in a minute. We'll talk about it. Just as a 2-minute personal journey for me, I have worked in US for over 30 years. And when I look back, the connection I want to make between India and US is about how do we take the best of India to the rest of the world and bring best of the rest of the world to India. And one of the best exchanges we can do is through ideas and people. And we really want our children, our youth from all across the globe to really connect with each other. So everything we do is with that purpose of how do we have people from different disciplines, different geographies, different gender, different tastes, different skills come on one platform and learn together. That's what our dream is. And it's important for us in the world today to do everything through collaboration. None of us can do anything on our own. So that's why we are working with Network Capital, and we're going to bring you people from across the globe so we can all learn together. So I'm really, really excited about it. With that, I'll hand it over to Utkarsh so he can talk about it, and we're going to be around for any questions. Utkarsh,
Sure.
all yours.
Thanks so much, Lakshmi. It really is a pleasure for me to be partnering, me and Network Capital to be partnering with Inc. to design a new school experience, something that will complement what school students learn on a day-to-day basis, to focus on three fundamental aspects of learning. And these three fundamental aspects are persuasive writing, public speaking, and critical thinking. So Lakshmi and I have been trying to start from the end in mind. Like, what should be the focus of our students who come to our program, and what should they graduate with? And these three things, when we look at the top CEOs around the world, of people who've enabled something unique, they are usually exceptional communicators, both in the written and in the oral format, and they're able to think things through. And these are the three things that we want to focus on in this particular school experience. So, a quick background about myself and why I got interested in this school. So, I studied at INSEAD, Wharton, got a Chevening Fellowship at the University of Oxford. I was also an Inc. Fellow, which is how I got to know Lakshmi. And I've been writing extensively about the future of work and future of education in Harvard Business Review. And I have a book coming out in 2022 about the passion economy and the future of work. The essence of all of this, the reason I'm telling you is that I have tried to make sense of my life by conducting a wide range of micro experiments. And these micro experiments have given me the clarity that in order to figure out what you want to do with your life, you need to have a community and an environment that allows you to learn and experiment together. Unfortunately, this is not the norm in most educational institutions, especially at a high school level around the world. And we want to bring that in this weekly enrichment program that we have designed in collaboration with Inc. Our students are going to focus on just working with us for 1 hour every week. Why? Because we understand that today's school student is overburdened. She has many prior commitments, there are extracurriculars, there's test preparation to do, there are board examinations, and so forth. So, with just 1 hour a week on a weekend, we will enable them to really experiment and learn without having this pressure to have figured out what they want to do with their life at the age of 10 or 15 or 20. I think personally, I have discovered that some of the most meaningful experiences in my academic and professional life, be it at Microsoft, be it when I was getting my MBA, partaking of all sorts of experiences, were when I was doing something that I was truly engaged and energized in. So, over and above the three things that we discussed, which was writing, public speaking, and critical thinking, we will constantly allow our students to partake of experiences so that they can make sense of where they want to go and what kind of experience they want to share. My interest in the education sector began, like almost 10 years back, and I started observing classrooms around the world. I started traveling, I started noticing what were school students doing, how are they spending their time. And once I remember an experience vividly where I'd gone to a classroom and I asked students to draw something. And as you can imagine, um, all the students in the class drew a mountain, sun on top, river flowing from the mountain, and green grass. And that is a beautiful picture, but there is a little bit of a challenge if every child feels compelled to draw the same picture. It struck me that in a way, are we standardizing creativity? Are we encouraging our students to really reimagine the status quo, really rethink the normal and experiment and tinker? Or are we losing Einsteins and Marie Curie's and Tagore's in the process? Our focus with this school enrichment program that we have is to find the most curious students from around the world, give them access to some of the top CEOs, artists, policymakers, thinkers, investors, and encourage them to actually break rules, challenge status quos, and think assumptions. You know, the world of work in the 21st century is not one where the rules are set. We need to make sense of what's going to happen with the spirit of adventure and possibility. And with the Inc. and Network Capital collective network, faculty, and curriculum, we want to make sure that the students who join this program have access to all of it. You might be very interested in learning what will the tangible outcomes be at the end of the program? What will my child actually learn? Now, let me give you a flavor of it, and I'm going to call Lakshmi to build on top of on it and address any questions. So, the first would be an ink style talk. You know, one of the most beautiful experiences of the past few years for me has been actually standing on the ink podium and sharing my vision of network capital. At that time, like, I was working at Microsoft and network capital was my passion project, but just preparing for that talk and sharing what does community and education look like really, of course, strengthened my ability to think and communicate, but the experience was energizing as well. Now, we want to start by preparing our students to give an ink style talk and actually publish it. We want to offer them the platform and prepare them so that tomorrow they can stand up in front of thousands of people and share ideas that will challenge the status quo. So we start with that end in mind. Your child will one day have the tools and techniques to give an ink style talk. And you will see for yourself. With 6 to 9 months of practice, you will see a tangible difference in the way your child communicates. Similarly, for writing, a fundamental thing, we'll start with the end in mind. We'll prep them to actually write for a newspaper or a magazine. You won't see an improvement in something like writing in 6 days or 6 weeks. But again, in 6 to 9 months, you will notice that your child is able to be more succinct about what she's trying to communicate. And then when it comes to critical thinking, we also have micro internships plan. We also have a partner, a Silicon Valley based company called PolyUp, who has a very interesting platform where students can participate and learn critical thinking skills and get mentorship from some of the best people in the world. You might have seen some of our faculty. Lakshmi will talk more about it. But our students will get to hear from people like Kirtika Reddy, Ghazal, who's from people who've done really well in the tech and venture capital space, and also filmmakers and artists, Shruti, Munaf, Gayatri, a wide range of people. Collectively, the Ink and Network Capital network combined, because we want to make sure for all of these things, the Ink style talk, the article that will one day get published, and for critical thinking, which is rooted in real life examples, we bring the best to the table. Now, let me invite Lakshmi to build a bit on it and share her thoughts on the three modules and what will the learning experience really look like for students.
I think you covered most of it, Utkarsh. I think, as you're saying, the focus is on practice. I think the children get their subjects, what they're doing already in their school. And what this program is going to focus on their ability to articulate, their ability to write. For example, the thing that critical thinking, one of the things Utkarsh was talking about, we partnered with a company called PolyUp. And what they have is a contest where the kids will be working with people from 9 other countries, and they'll be building worlds that are solving SDG problems. So they understand what United Nations SDG goals are, how can we solve for it. They build a world. The bottom line at the end of it is we want them to develop an entrepreneurial mindset. It doesn't mean it's about somebody starting a company at the end of it, but the mindset you need to have of always learning something new and how to reinvent yourself. Because by the time our kids graduate from college, whatever they are studying is obsolete already. So we need to teach them how to learn. It's not about teaching them what to learn, but how to learn. So that's what this process is really about, is teaching them how to learn, how to collaborate, how to trust others so you can build on what they already have, and really break away from the learning we had for the last 2 centuries, which is about something handed over to you and learning, versus now inventing your learning and learn, relearn. So that is the habit we want them to develop. That's the muscle we want them to develop. And it's a year-long program, multi-year program. This is sort of like when you go to a gym, when you join a gym, you need to work out every day. It's not like you work out for 6 months and then you are healthy for the rest of your life. It's something you need to exercise every day. And that's what this program is. A little bit, get into good habits every day, learn how to learn every day. So that's our dream. That's what we're doing. And as Utkarsh was talking about, every week it's 1 hour commitment every week, and probably another hour outside of that, that a participant needs to do to learn throughout the year.
Yeah.
So that's what the program is, and
Yeah.
open to
Let me
new.
actually build on of what Lakshmi was saying about the importance of two things that really jumped out at me. One was that when you try to become, say, a better writer or a better public speaker, you can't really expect a massive change in a short period of time. Just the way you perhaps develop your body, become more fit, it's a way of putting yourself through an immersive process. And this 1 hour a week is that time. And we came up with this because we realized that today's students are just so flooded with test preparation that the spirit of wonder, the spirit of discovery, is sometimes drowned out in the cacophony of getting into college and specializing too soon. We do believe that participating in this program and learning from some of the top university professionals who've gone to the best schools, who are deans of good schools and so forth, will help them get into college and so forth. But we have deliberately not emphasized that aspect of it because we really want kids to come here for the joy of learning. A byproduct of that would be getting into good schools. But we don't want to start with that, although that is something very easily we can accomplish. If you want to see a list of, 100 people who your school students will learn from, who your kids will learn from, Lakshmi and I can put that list together in our collective networks in 5 minutes. But the point of this program is not how to get into school X. Let that be the byproduct. Instead, let's go through a process in which your child can understand the importance of putting yourself through a system, enjoy the process, and then as a byproduct, get into the university. I'd love for Lakshmi to talk to us about a university immersion that is also being considered. And if your student is interested, like if your child is interested, we can talk about it. So Lakshmi, do you want to tell us a bit about
Sure. I
USC,
mean, we are
etc.?
working, yeah, we are working with the university in California right now for summer to create an immersive program for the students. So they could take a 1 month program. And what we are doing, it is creating a program around it. They can take any course from the university. It's already available. But on top of it, we're adding writing workshops, etc., locally, and also allowing for the parents to come. So if you want to come as a family and rent a place and be there, um, the student can go attend the classes, but we have a surrounding programs for the parents and even for the student outside of that course that they are taking. So it's a 1 month immersive program of meeting some really key scientists and really key thought leaders, entertainers who are in that area. So it's an immersive program of how do we learn through people.
Mhm.
So our thing is focused on experiential and learning through people, learning through meeting people. So we
Yeah.
are planning that for this summer.
Yeah, and of course, like your child will have the option to actually go to USC if they feel like it,
Sorry,
or if
UCSD. Yeah.
UCSD, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
And if you feel that you want to have them get access to it, perhaps we can request the dean, who Lakshmi knows quite well, to address the students, explain what it is. We want to make sure that access, learning, and opportunity exploration is not a challenge for any student. And we want to do that by giving our students direct access to some of the foremost thought leaders around the world. And over and above, they will also have the opportunity, if they like, to go to campus, spend a month there, learn
We can
alongside.
answer more questions as we let's start a dialogue. I think we've given a background. Would
Yeah,
love to hear from whoever is online with questions,
sure.
clarifications, so we can add more details
Yeah.
through the conversation.
I think the questions are coming via chat. So
Yeah,
let's start, yeah, opening the floor for questions.
yeah. There's a thing from Yogi Sharma saying that I love how you're keeping youth time commitment in my. Yeah, yeah. That's one thing we've gotten a lot from parents that kids are already busy. So we are not interested in doing another 10-hour a week program. We really we have seen this. One talk, 1 hour can change your trajectory. So it's really good. It's good to keep for us also to keep that in mind. Um, Mira is saying that I might have drawn the same picture now that I think about it. Glad there are people making efforts. Yeah. So she's
Yeah.
referring to the picture that you talked about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This it's surprising that that picture of the sun, the mountain, and the river. It's not just common in
Mm.
emerging countries. It's also common. I tried it out in Moldova,
Yeah.
Eastern Europe, and surprisingly, kids there also felt compelled to do so. That's what got me really worried. I think we don't want education to become a factory because if you look at it, the fundamental nature of education hasn't changed that much in the past 200, 300 years. A classroom is designed, unfortunately, a lot like a factory. There is a
Yeah.
bell, there is a headmaster or a teacher standing in front of 30 people, and there are kids learning in a classroom, and in a factory, people are assembling, say, nuts and bolts and putting that equipment in order.
Mm.
Except 21st century is very different. Lakshmi constantly talks to CEOs from around the world. And, in designing this program, we actually kept into mind, how do you flip the factory model and make it more of a discussion?
Yeah.
And
And
technology, in a way, makes that happen.
Priyanka is asking about the age group of the children. It's age 10 through 18. That's the age group we are focusing on right now. And we really believe that um, the multi-age is actually really good. And you can learn a lot from people from different age groups. Sometimes that, I mean, this other thing we have in our heads is linear learning, right? Somebody at 11 may be much more knowledgeable about uh, speaking than somebody else who's 18. I mean, so sometimes when you mix age groups, really interesting insights come out. So Mira is asking, how would you communicate leadership building to the younger participants, 9 to 11? I think, Mira, when we have a speaker when we are addressing a topic each week, everybody will get to ask questions. So I think by making sure people participate, I think we can accomplish that.
Yeah. And I know, Mira, like you and I got a chance to speak. One of the things that we want to do with each of our students in the school is to really understand what do they care most about, and then work backwards. Because leadership can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. But in your case, for example, what does sensitivity to environment look like? And who are the leaders in that space really designing a slightly better world? Give you access to it and help you essentially make your dreams possible. We don't want to be prescriptive in the school that everybody should do X. We want to make sure that we personalize and give you the tools to achieve your dreams. Like, Lakshmi and I are just trying
Mm.
to be helpful facilitators. Essentially, the work
Yeah.
that needs to be done is to be yours.
And also, it's a bi-directional learning. It's not that the person who's coming and speaking every week knows everything also. I mean, for me, every time I speak to a group, I learn something from it. So we really want this to be a collaborative process. It's not like, uh, okay, my child is going here. What are the 5 things they have learned? It's about what can they teach each of the instructors also. That's what's exciting, is that bi-directional learning. um, there's a question about faculty. The faculty is again from multiple disciplines. I mean, the bigger items are writing, speaking, and critical thinking. So we'll have various speakers, like some of the people Utkarsh was mentioning. For example, Ghazal Daliwal is a Bollywood writer, script writer. Munaf Kapadia, he's done. He wrote a book, and he's had his own company. He worked for Google, and now he's with Zomato, so marketing person. So there are practitioners, people who are marketeers, people who are writers, people who are who built companies themselves. There could be some academics sometimes who will teach you the science of writing. So it's a mixed bag. Our attendees and the speakers are from very, very diverse fields. Um,
And some of them we've already mentioned in our posters. But yeah, our goal is to basically get you actual teaching from the best in the business. So whoever are the top writers in the country, in the world, we will get them to actually give your child that time, those techniques. If hypothetically I were the best writer in the world, I can't give, like, hey, here is the tool. Now you will learn this tool, become the best writer. That's not the goal. The goal is to inspire the child, share the tools and techniques so that the child can develop her own writing style, her own voice. We do not want to be prescriptive in this program. There are too many prescriptions floating around in the market. We'll take care of the facilitation and access. of the best people from around the world for every child.
And also, we want to stay away from, this is not about a celebrity parade. The idea is not to say, I'm going to bring all Fortune 500 CEOs and all that stuff. We have learned at Inc. over the last 10 years that learning is all around us, and there are amazing people who can teach us. And we have to get away from this, focus on celebrity thing also. We have to focus on learning. Who can teach us the most? How can we learn from everybody around us? That's the key. So, we every conversation, every week, it is thought through of who are the sort of people who can come and teach. There's a question about geographies. You want to take that, Utkarsh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lakshmi. So we are going to make sure that the classes happen on a weekend for 1 hour a week. Our existing participants come from the US and India. And by the time the classes start, which will be the first class will be on Feb 19, the second class is going to be in the first week of March, weekend of March. It'll be at a time which is friendly to all time zones. We will make sure that our kids, whether you're coming from signing up from Japan or India or America, will find a slot that works for everybody. And also, if it is possible that perhaps a weekend that your child is unwell or has to attend to a school picnic or an event, all the classes are recorded, and the classes will be put on a platform where they can watch, and they will also get coaching from our mentors so that people can actually the child if he's stuck or she's stuck on a particular concept, they can revise and come up to speed before the next class. So we totally understand that we're building a global school, not an
Yeah.
Indian school or an American school. It's for everybody.
Yeah. There's a question about the number of participants. Our goal is in the entire year, we want to have 100 kids. The first batch probably will be around 20, 25. That's what we
Yeah.
want in
Yeah.
February 19th to start with at least 20 people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically, if you look at some of the, Oxford or Cambridge, for example, or many of these universities have what you call seminars. And these, in our seminars, what they do is that it's more of a discussion with a teacher rather than a teacher saying, this is photosynthesis. This is how, it works. So we plan to take some of these best practices from different universities and try and include them in the school level as well.
Mhm.
I do want to mention a bit about the proof of work, which I will if there are no other questions, because many of you might want to ask, hey, what will be the end product of this, and what will be some of the more tangible ways in which the end product can help my child? But I'll take it later if there's time.
Yeah. And I think I also want to say that while this is a multidisciplinary, we also don't want to create an impression that this is customized to each child. We are giving many, many options so that everyone finds something that will gel with them. And if someone writes to us saying, hey, this is what I really want to give a talk in this, can you connect me to somebody in this area, we'll do our best. But it is a group program, it's a cohort based program. And we've done these sorts of things before, and it's really amazing how when the cohort comes together, how they help each other out. I mean, in fact, we don't need to do much. After a while, people are helping each other out. So we are very big fans of cohort based learning, so this is very exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Lakshmi, if you have time, you should also tell about people like Jagan who've
Yeah,
who've gone through a similar experience, and
sure.
I'll share a thing or two. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, in the critical thinking, we've talked about Polyup, and Polyup has a challenge, where they say that you take, sustainable development goals problem, something, and then you solve it. And it's as general as that. But then the way you solve it is you're creating a world. It's like a Minecraft world that you're creating by mathematical manipulations. So there is a social science piece of it where you have to say what are the SDGs? And which SDG do I want to solve for? Do I want to solve for energy? Do I want to solve for water? What do I want to solve for? And then there's a collaborative piece where you're working with others to build that solution. And then you're competing with this idea with people from across the globe. So you're connecting with people from all over the world. So we ran this pilot last year. So there's a kid, Jagan, who's from Hyderabad, Jubilee Hills Public School, who came as part of that. And he was so good, and he formed the company, and he became part of sort of the advisor for Polyup on their technology platform, etc. And then his company has been winning a lot of awards for the world they are creating. So we really are encouraging kids to apply their minds. And a lot of times, as adults, we feel we know something, but when they start solving it, they know a lot more actually. So the kids are working with each other. And so, as the company lead, he had to figure out who's going to be his marketing lead, who's going to be his social media lead, and all those kinds of stuff. And he got all of them, built this company, and been winning awards. And this is all done virtually. So we have a proof. I mean, we've been doing this, and we've also extended it to a lot of the government schools. We had a grant, so we have like almost 2,000 kids from public schools who are going through it, from government schools and slum schools who are going through it. So we really want to create that equitable world also, so everybody has an opportunity to participate. So that's the plan. So we'll have Utkarsh will join in a second, I think. We also, I mean, Utkarsh and their team also has examples of writing, what has happened in writing, what are some of the things that have come out, some of the things that have been published. I mean, we can't guarantee that the writing that comes out of it will be published in a newspaper or whatever, but we can publish it ourselves. So everyone gets a chance to put stuff out there. So, Utkarsh, I was saying maybe you can give an example of the writing results
Sure.
you guys had. Yeah.
Definitely. So, just want to take about a few minutes to walk you through the proof of work. Sorry, my phone was about to die, so I had to take some urgent steps and step out for a second. So, every child, when you think about their ability to form ideas, I think writing is something that crystallizes and formulates ideas. Personally, for me, writing has been one of the highest leverage activities that I've done in the past few years. Writing, in a way, helped me, decide, what is my social, economic, political view, outlook of the world. And it all begins by setting a target. So in the school, our students will prepare themselves to write long form essays and articles, and we actually pitch them to publishers. For me, I had a weekly column with a newspaper called Mint, and every week, actually, the process of sending in their article, sometimes getting rejected, sometimes getting accepted, it basically, that discipline made me find my voice. And we want to make sure that kids don't have to wait till they're 25 or 30 till they actually start reaching out to editors, but they start reaching out today itself. So in the class, they will have insights and mental models on how to build an idea, how to present an idea, how to pitch to an editor, and at the end of the program, they will have actually pitched and published. At least we will leave no stone unturned in giving them the access and the tools and techniques. Already, if you there are students who've taken part in our summer school program, and you should check out some of their works. When we send you an email after this particular live session, we'll give you an example of people like Jagan, as Lakshmi walked, and some of our students who took part in the summer school program. Just notice their own writing. They write better than many heads of large companies today. And it is because they started understanding and they appreciated the rigor from the beginning. So you will see your child's voice being published, and you will notice and hopefully admire uh, what happens in the program. And again, we want every child to learn to write and scale ideas on the internet. Um, and we want to make sure that they have the tools and techniques of doing so today and also thereafter. I referenced briefly my book that is coming out in the next few months. In the book, there are a couple of chapters of people who basically quit big fancy jobs to become a writer. One such person is called Ben Thompson. He used to work at Microsoft, and a few years back, he quit Microsoft to basically start writing on technology and trends. His newspaper, Stratechery, today makes millions of dollars and has become the number one or among the top sources of news analysis and insights in technology. So, what's happening is that the world is moving towards appreciating the power of persuasive niche based writing. So, people like Ben Thompson demonstrate what can happen if you learn to communicate ideas powerfully. And your child may or may not want to become a Ben Thompson, but your child will benefit a ton from studying his career, learning to write, and having relatable role models that they can look up to. So basically, having the end project published is the outcome that you're working toward, much like what I talked about in the public speaking program. Having an ink style talk published will give the child the impetus, the tools, the motivation to put forward an idea that they can share with the rest of the world. And hopefully, some of these ideas will be transformational. And then we will work together to connect the dots and put it in the right sort of way. And this is this collective process of writing, speaking, critical thinking, having the article published, having the ink style talk live published, will be proof of work. So tomorrow, when your child applies to a college or an internship or a job, they don't need to talk about things that they could have done in an ideal world. They can say, I'm applying as an intern in your growth team based on my analysis that I've been doing for the past 6 months. This is my writing sample. It is published here. Read it. And if it's good enough, give me that internship. I find this proof of work concept much more fascinating than the traditional cover letters and CVs and all of that, because it is based on actually doing things rather than theoretically thinking about it. If your child wants to create a podcast, that's amazing. It's again a proof of work. If your child wants to write a book, they don't need to wait till they're 25 or 30. If they have an idea and if they have the commitment, we'll make sure that they have everything necessary to get it out there. So we will create these end projects towards which every child in the school program will get. And we will make sure that it's not super time intensive. With an hour a week, they can all make it happen if they just commit to the process. So I hope that is helpful. Let me check if there are more questions. If not, we can begin to wrap up. Yeah, not that I can see. So yeah, Lakshmi, any concluding thoughts on what we've discussed so far?
I just want to say that my excitement about this is about the opportunities I wish I had when I was in school. I wish someone told me that I could have been a journalist or I could have been a writer. I would have followed it much more rigorously. And also, I guess in my time there was a little bit of where will I get a job? There was a little bit of a scarcity, right? But today's world, our kids can create their own jobs. So that's the exciting part, is that we need to change our mode of education to match the opportunities that are available today. And that's really what we are trying to do. And it's a collaborative process, it's a joint process. We want the parents and the participants, everybody be in it together. It's a collaborative process. It's not a formula that has a guaranteed result. It's you get what you put in. So it's a collaborative process. And that's what I'm truly excited about.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, just final thoughts from my side. About 85-90% of jobs of 2030 do not exist today. That means your child will most likely have to create his or her own job. You can't create your own job in isolation. You need to be part of learning communities that give you the tools, techniques, and the uh, almost leeway to experiment. We want to be that community for your child. And thankfully, we have, both Lakshmi and I have been trying to do that in our own way for the past years. And we are really both personally invested in making this program the most enriching, intellectually stimulating program that your child goes through. Education matters to us. Both Lakshmi and I have had many discussions and debates around the subject. This is a project that is, I think, many years it has taken to actually fructify into something. Now that we have it in shape, uh, we hope you trust us with your child for 1 hour a week and give us 6 to 9 months and see what happens thereafter.
There's a question about have the timings been finalized. It hasn't, and we will publish it soon. It will be at a decent time for everyone. It won't be a perfect time for everyone. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about the timings we are
Sure.
considering, Utkarsh.
Yeah. So the timing that we've noticed works for most people, many students, is the time at which this particular open house
Yeah.
is taking place. Roughly, say a Saturday, which is say 7:30, 8:30 p.m. India time. That makes it possible for people on the West Coast to join in, possible on the East Coast folks to join in. Actually makes it okay for people in Japan to join in as well. Um, but again, it's a global school. It'll be at a time which works for everybody. The first class is the 19th of Feb. So you will you will get the time, but most likely it'll be the time of the open house itself. Um, all classes will be recorded, and the way to sign up would be just go to the website of the YouthInk with Network Capital. You can enroll your student today, and then we'll have a one-on-one call with the student and with you, orient with you with the process, understand what your child is interested in, and if you have any specific needs, we can also try our best to listen and understand it.
So thank you so much for your time. I'm going to move a little bit because I think the sun is in my face. So thank you so much for your time. We look forward to having you guys enroll, write to us. We'll be happy to get on a call to answer any questions you may have. If you want your kids, their friends, whoever wants to enroll, we are here to answer any questions. Thank you so much for your time.